Hey guys, so in part 2 of the social media project using Laravel, we'll set up the views and the routes for our post controller. So if this is something you'd like to learn how to do, then watch this video. Okay, so next we're going to work on our views of our application. So first let's go back into VS Code. Okay, and what you want to do is go down here into resources and then open that up and then go into views. And then we're going to create a new folder here called posts, and that's going to include all of our views for our post controller. So we'll create a new folder and name it posts. Okay, and then you want to open that up and create a new file called index.blade.php. Okay, so what we can do is just copy our code from our database here. Okay, and then we'll paste it here. Okay, so select all of this and then paste it. Okay, and then we can just remove this code here and then we can start our index view. Okay, so first what we want to do is create a div, and then give it a class of container. Okay, and then open that up. Okay, and then first what we want to do, okay, so we'll just give it a heading, so all posts. Okay, and then next we can set up a section for user confirmation. So if they submit a post, then they'll be redirected to the index view here. So if session success. Okay, and then we're going to open up a div. So this will show all of our user confirmation. So session success. So it'll just be success for now, but you can add other ones in the future. Okay, and then close that off. Okay, and then after we're gonna add in a link to create a post. So href, and then this will link to the post create route. So we haven't created our route links yet, so we just did the controller, so we'll do that after. Okay, so this will be post.create. Okay, and then create a new post. Okay, so next we'll list all of our posts. So we'll do an unordered list. So add for each post as posts. Add an end for each. Just to close that off. And then we're gonna add in our list of posts. So this is for one post. So open this up. Okay, so first we'll get the post name. Okay, so it'll be bolded, so strong. Post username, so this is the author of the post. And then we'll add in the content right after. So this will be post content. And if they're the creator of the post, then they'll have the option to delete it. So if auth check and auth ID is equal to the post user ID, then this button will show. Okay, so it'll be a form. So this will link to the destroy route. So route post destroy post. And then this will be a post method, but we'll clarify that it's a delete. But in the form tag, you need to specify that it's persisting to the database. Okay, and then we need to add a CSRF token as we're making a database transaction. And then here we'll mention that it's a delete method. Okay, and then we'll add the button to delete. So it's type submit. Delete post. Okay, and then we'll close out our if statement. Okay. Okay, and then save this. And next, let's create our create form index views. Okay, so we'll create a new file, and this will be create.blade.php. Okay, and we'll just copy our code from our index view, paste this. Okay, so we just change some of the stuff here. So this will be create a post, so create post. And then we'll display any user errors here. So it'll be similar to this. So we'll just erase this. And then if there's any errors, be a div unordered list. Okay, and then for each error is all as error. List the error, so li error. Okay, and then end the for each. Okay, and then save this, and then underneath this we'll add in our form. So we'll just delete all of this stuff here. Then we'll do form. Action is our store method, as we'll be saving this to the database. So route post store. And again, we got to mention it's a post method. Okay, and then our CSRF token. And we'll do a text area to fill in the content. So this will be content. Okay. We don't need an ID. And need column, so I'll just add a placeholder. So say write a post. Okay, and underneath that will be our submit button. So button, type submit, and then post. So this looks good. So next, let's just add in our routes. Okay, so to access the routes, what you want to do is go here into routes and just click web.php. And then these are our routes. Okay, so first we'll need to import our post controller. So we'll do use app. HTTP controller, and then post controller. Okay, so that's imported. Okay, next what we can do is make sure that they're authenticated in order to view the post. So we can make sure we're inside this auth middleware here. So over here it'll be route.get and then /post. And then this will access the index view, so post controller class index. And then we'll give this route a name of post index. And close that off. And then underneath we'll do our create. So this will be a get method again. So get post create. So this will just allow us to access our create post form. Okay, and then close that off and name it post create. Okay, so just have a typo here, so just add in a comma. Okay, and then next we'll do our post store to save posts to the database. Okay, so this would be a post route. Posts. Okay, and then it will be post controller. Class store. So access our store method. Name is equal to post store. Okay, and then lastly, it will be our delete function. So delete. Okay, so this will be posts. And then access the delete method. So post controller class destroy. Okay, just double check again. Did I miss? What did I miss? Okay, and then we'll give this a name. Post destroy. Okay, and then close that off. Save. Okay, just double check here. Okay, so just an extra semicolon here. Colon. Okay, and save. Okay, now let's check our application and see if it works. So go back into your browser. Okay, and then I'll refresh this here. Okay, and then up here we'll go into posts. Oops, with an S. Undefined variable posts. Okay, so I think we just need to import our models there. So let's just go back into our code. And then our post controller just over here. When we compact, we need to make sure this is the same. So it'll be with an S. Okay, and let's try again. And refresh. Awesome. So we have our post here. So let's create a new post. So write a post. First test posts. Click post. Awesome. So it redirected us to our index post, and then it's saying, oh, post created successfully. So that's our confirmation. And then here's our post, first test post. So I'll create another one. Second post. And then I'll delete that second post to test our delete method. Okay, so we just need to fix this. So post authorize. Okay, so let's check our controller here. Okay, so we're just having some errors here, so we can just remove this as we already have a gate for this view on the front end. Okay, so we'll save this and go back and try again. Okay, I'll go back and then I'll delete the second post. Okay, so just another syntax error, so just add an S there. So back in VS Code, let me just fix that. Okay, return redirect post.index, so save, and then go back to our project. Go back, delete post. Return redirect. So it should go back to the index. Okay, so it deleted the post, so let me just check what happened. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, so I'll just create another post. And delete the post. Awesome. So now it redirects us back to the post index. So great. So we were able to set up our views and test out our routes. So this is working great. So next what we can do is improve the styling and then have the ability to add images as well. So I think that's what I'll work on in the next video. So this concludes the end of part 2 of the social media app using Laravel. So in part 3, I'll continue with fixing up the styling and the UI and just making user profiles so that it's a more integrated social media app. Please like and subscribe to stay up to date with my series. And if you're looking for help with your website or Laravel project, then you can contact me at mapletmedia.ca. Thanks for watching.